It's high noon.
Hello and welcome to episode 40 of FOWL Play. Welcome back, everybody. I am your MC for the evening, Heebie-Jeebie. I am joined here, as always, by A. Smith and Teoyama. Say hi, you guys.
Hi, you guys.
Hey, you guys.
One of you disobeyed, and that will come back to bite you later. I promise.
Wait a second. This is not episode 40. I just had the conundrum here. This is technically episode 40.
Oh.
However, the listeners only think it's episode 39.
Yep.
Well, listeners, if you're still listening to this terrible intro, and why on earth would you? Welcome to episode 39 of Foul Play. Nothing happened, much akin to,
Last week?
Yeah, last week. If you listen to the flagship show of High Noon Podcast, you heard the Blevins kind of fall on his sword for my sake. I want to say it was not his fault in any fashion, and it was mine. I apologize to all of you. It was pretty
Stop
good
being so
episode.
Canadian, man. Just let Blevins take the blame.
Listen up,
That's
all
what
you.
we Americans do.
Listen up, all you dirty listeners. You didn't deserve episode 39. It was for my ears only. So, we are now on episode 39, truly, and I hope you're hearing everyone's voice equally. If you don't, I quit the podcast. So, on to a couple of announcements for this week in Fantasy Overwatch. We had some okay games this weekend, but unfortunately they did not count for fantasy points on highnoon.gg or another website, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. There's a Blizzard Stats API issue. If you want to go on highnoon.gg, you can read up on their solution for it. They're currently implementing a fix scores option for commissioners of leagues. So if this has happened previously and there's still like stuff you need to get figured out in your league and you're a commissioner, you will soon have the tools to fix that, which will be really nice. But that means we can't really do leaders and feeders for last week because we have no stats, which is unfortunate.
Sounds like last year.
Sounds
all over
like
again.
last year.
Rip.
Yeah, it's
Thanks,
no
Blizzard.
good. We do have stats for one game, which is NYXL versus Florida Mayhem.
Best game.
So, Taylor or Ace, do you want to take the leaders for that game?
Oh my
Okay,
god.
the leaders for that game are the
Uh-huh.
NYXL.
Okay, nice. And Teo, can you give me
Feeders.
the feeders for that game?
Yeah, it's Florida.
Oh, okay, yeah, the Florida
go.
Mayhem. Yeah, not great. So
Not good.
that is this week in fantasy. I want to apologize again for missing the last week before this. We had some cool players coming up who haven't been doing much. Bedosin comes to mind, and we had some other players kind of flounder, specifically Vancouver players. But anyway, and Toronto as always. But we have an announcement that I'm personally very excited for. Teoyama, why don't you take this announcement?
So I'm assuming this is the
Yeah.
Fantasy Owl announcement.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that would be seems to be coming a daily fantasy option for Fantasy Overwatch League. And that should be pretty sick. We're obviously all pretty big fans of fantasy, daily fantasy. And this scoring format seems pretty interesting. They're kind of moving away from High Noon's exact formula and going closer to like a fantasy football-esque full point PPR. Or a half point PPR, because instead of it just being the standard 1 point per limb, 1 point per 1,000 healing, 1 point per 1,000 damage taken, you also get half a point taken away per death, which is an interesting little twist there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, seems like a fun format. And, as I'm not sure if people are really familiar with daily fantasy, but the way that works is like you're given a budget, let's say of 100 tokens and then, or $100, and
$1 million.
different players are valued at different weights based on how they've performed in the past. So, Hagopian is going to be cheaper than Jonak, for example, and things like that. So there's a lot to weigh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and players will cost according to a very, very detailed algorithm based on previous points, strength of schedule of the week. Like there's a lot of things going on, like on how it's going to be detailed, like average points for the team, how the meta associates how the team has been doing per stage as opposed to the whole season. Like there's a lot of different, it's like weighted all very differently to make a very intricate system that your player costs 32 pennies.
Yes. My favorite part of that algorithm that you just mentioned is the probability of a fifth map occurring.
Yeah,
I think that was like the
Yeah.
best choice he could have put in there because, I mean, one, that's a whole section of our show each week, is choosing what maps we think are
Valid.
going to go to 5 because we've seen time and time again the best fantasy asset you could have is your chance to go to a fifth map. So, go on to it's fantasyowl.com. Very simple, very simple web domain. Go on there, give your account a sign up. We have word that the system is running and you can enter for these stage playoffs. However, stage playoff stats and API with Blizzard are funky. We know you're probably so sick and tired of us saying that. We're sick and tired of hearing it. But there's no guarantee that the leagues, if you enter this week and all, will work. However, we have been promised that stage 4, this system will be up and running. So if you are kind of sick and tired of investing in that full season league and you want like a more kind of just a daily thing, maybe you can convince a few friends to enter there. And starting with stage 4, we will be having High Noon podcast based leagues. So you kind of have like a little home base where you can enter and compete. Remember, they are just daily leagues, so you're just trying to win that day. It's not like you have to play every single day like unlimited on highnoon.gg, for example.
Yeah, it's like a FanDuel's or a what's the other one?
DraftKings.
Really yeah, DraftKings. So if you've ever played those in the meat sports, then go for it. That's gonna be your jam. It's a lot of fun, and it'll be fun to kind of test out to see how it operates, how it feels, and we're gonna partner with them in a way to help them grow and because we love fantasy Overwatch and we would we want to support people that are gonna make the effort to like High Noon GG did this season. Hopefully Fantasy Owl will and we may even alter our show to kind of do some daily stuff maybe.
Sure. And if you want that in our show, let us know. Let us know over Twitter or Discord in the fantasy mailbag section. If you're listening and you're like, hey, I really do like this unlimited style, but this daily format game, let us know that you want us to cover it, and we will be happy to adapt the show if our listeners are playing in it. So just, keep us updated on all of that. Now, we have coming up the final stage of Season 2 of Overwatch League. After these next stage playoff games, which are going to be so dope, and I'm very excited about them. However, we have stage 4. We have the rumors. I'm sure you've seen them if you've ever logged on to the World Wide Web. Is that we are entering into a 2-2-2 role lock, that being 2 DPS, 2 tanks, and 2 healers at all times in every map of Overwatch League, and maybe the main game. I don't know. They make weird decisions sometimes, but that is incoming potentially. Again, this is maybe. So we're going to discuss this a little bit. We're going to discuss players that you should be keeping your eye on if this meta shift happens, that maybe are sitting on the waiver wire. We have players that you should be maybe cutting from your team if this happens, maybe. I can't give enough qualifiers to this. Please don't destroy your fantasy roster because of this maybe rumor. Also,
Please wait for an official announcement from Blizzard.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. um, and remember, also the season is like there's not that much left of it in terms of the fantasy season. So like, if you need a gambit, then man, maybe it's worth it. So, 222, Teoyama, talk to me. How do you think this adjusts fantasy, if at all?
I think immediately we should see more consistency from the top DPS that we like. You
Okay.
know, I think throughout this, and I would say flex tanks as well. Throughout the season, like flex supports, main tanks, and main supports have kind of been the only mainstays on teams, as teams have like, you know, taken out their flex tank for another DPS, with Meko and NYXL being the obvious example, since Sebiobi took all of his minutes. And then we've also seen teams take out one DPS for another DPS, as we saw with London Spitfire subbing out Profit for Guard a couple weeks back. So like,
Great.
in those examples, you know, and then also with London, Bird Rings playing time was iffy in the beginning of the season. So I think with the 222 role lock, we're more likely to see players locked into their roles on the team, not just necessarily the roles that they play in the game, you know, but
more
also
guaranteed
like,
stage time.
exactly. So one person in particular that could be affected by that is Envy on the Shanghai Dragons. You know, I think the Shanghai Dragons have been messing around with that flex tank role, and Envy's playing time has obviously been very mixed because of that. But if they're locking in one person to play Diva for most of a game, it's going to end up being him. So in situations like that, we're likely to see more stable playing time across the board.
Yeah, I agree with you there. You know, I think certain players especially are going to benefit from this. Your DPS that were drafted a lot significant, you know, really early, like Carpe. I think Carpe is one of the key people that will really benefit from this, because Carpe
EQO.
Azaria has been tragic.
Yeah.
So, you know, these DPS are going to get back to doing what they do, and that's clicking heads and killing people, and that's what we always wanted. I think Soon is probably going to benefit from this. I think you're going to see some players revitalize in a way that we've always wanted to. In the way that it seems like Overwatch should be played.
Okay.
You know, like I get now we're kind of seeing even some triple DPS kind of stuff, and it still doesn't feel right to me. For some
Spectating it is a
reason.
nightmare. Like, it's so it's just replays. Like, that's all we get to watch, because there's like a 1 in 4 chance you catch the cool play. Like, that is not an entertaining way to watch Overwatch, in my opinion.
Yeah,
no, I think it's pretty fun. There's so much action.
There's so much action, but I hate like missing it. Like back when we could see like you know, I feel like last season we got to see a lot more in live action, and then we could see like really cool like 360 replays of it, as opposed to now it's like everything's a replay and it kind of looks like a cluster. So it's a lot more fun. It'll be really interesting, and I think you're going to see consistency in teams as well throughout stages because of this. With no major meta shifts like have been, where like you're going goats. Like, that's not going to be the same. It you know, I think the meta shifts will affect teams less, because because your DPS can focus on specific DPS, and they can focus on 3 characters as opposed to Zarya and Brigitte, and you know, like you know, you're gonna get back to what you want. And so, you know, and what Teo was saying with those off tanks is gonna be a blessing for them. You're probably gonna see a lot more. I mean, I think Diva is gonna be the play there. So I think Diva is gonna be back.
Like,
Which will be
Space, for example, is someone that like I think will be like back to being a huge point scorer.
Space.
And another thing, kind of just trailing off of the extra points for DPS and the points we're used to seeing for flex tanks. I think we're also likely to see more Zenyatta getting played from the flex support role,
Mhm.
just because if teams do want to run a Sombra, they're going to be sacrificing one of their DPS slots to do so. They're going to need to pick up that damage elsewhere, and Zenyatta is obviously a great choice to do
Yeah.
it. And also, kind of Ana's benefited from the fact that she can heal up those tanks pretty quickly. If you're not running 3 tanks, you don't really need an Ana so much, and Zen, you're probably going to use a Zen instead.
Mhm.
So that should mean an uptick in damage as well as healing.
With a
Well,
2-2
healing for the
lock,
trance.
with the 2-2-2 lock, are we going to see, just a thought here, but are we going to see like Anna redone? Like
Rework.
could you see an Anna rework?
I think the sleep dart is like
It's
one
so
of the
good.
strongest abilities in the game. So I don't think we're
Anti-nade,
likely
I
to
would
see
say,
a
is stronger.
Yeah,
Anti-nade's
anti-nade is
sick.
huge too. So I don't know. I think maybe we'll see teams try and run like Ana as a main support here and there, and run the Ana Zen, which is like a ridiculous comp. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that we'll see a rework super soon, but
Yeah.
they'll probably they'll have to wait and see how 222 affects the meta first before they change anybody, I think.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah. 2-2-2 should. Honestly, dive was my favorite meta,
Yeah.
and dive was the most fun to watch. Maybe the only other meta that I read, we had Farah way back in the
Hmm.
All right. Well, A
maybe when
Smith is
Tailspin it.
cutting out a
You
little
there?
bit. So,
You there?
yeah, I think we're here.
Okay. So I was saying when that Pharaoh was there back with like Tailspin, Seagull, and like Mangachu, that was probably my other
Yeah.
fun. It was really fun to spectate,
Mhm.
and maybe because it was super easy, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I think you could see Dive come back too, which would be very interesting.
Dive would come back because it's a great counter to Bunker, which everyone's kind of talking is going to be like the big mainstay, like kind of comp on a lot of, basically on any point where the defenders like 2CP. I think we'll see Bunker
Yeah.
every single time. If we see Anna, I think it will be a lot in like season 1, which will be on like second point defenses where like the team is very spread out. Like think Hanamura. Like we almost always saw Anna on defense on second point Hanamura because your team is playing from 4 separate locations. So like Anna's the best option there for healing. And so I think it'll just be more of a niche pick. Or we do see Anna Zen. Maybe we see Baptiste Zen. I think that would be really cool.
Baptiste. Such a good character.
Yeah. I think it'll just go back to being a bit more map dependent. Like King's Row, you probably can't get away from Rhine Zarya, so yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, Ryan's Aria will be interesting. That'll be fun.
yeah.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I think this is going to be the most fun stage, to be honest with you.
The biggest change up for sure.
Yeah, since Goats has been around, it's been harder and harder for me to stay completely engaged because it
Yes.
feels like it's still the same thing.
Yeah, I get that. I would
The
say
past
my
few
go
weeks
ahead.
of this stage have been awesome.
Well, yeah,
It's been, going
this stage has
all
been good.
over the place.
This stage has been good, but I mean, like the first 2 stages have been like it was rough.
Yeah. Understood. My last thought on the 222 Rollock and how it is going to kind of come into fantasy, I think main tanks are going to be scoring more than off tanks. I think it's going to be kind of a coin flip in terms of score. Your Ryan in your 3-3 wasn't getting a whole lot of damage unless Grav was in place. And in that case, they're like running in full on linebacker. But a lot of the time, you just have your shields up and you're making space in such a wave where you're just walking and maneuvering. If we go back to 222, my hunch is we're going to see a lot of Winston, especially to counter Orisa. If we're playing a lot of Orisa, I'm not sure I'll stick to this theory. But if we do see more, I think Winston gets just as many eliminations as a Diva will. Might die a little bit more, but I think we'll be doing more damage. So that's my thoughts. It could be wrong, but
prediction.
yeah, it is my bold prediction.
Yeah, I'm not fully sold on that. I think just with the
Yeah.
way High Noon's scoring format is set up, main tanks are bound to score less than flex tanks, as
Yeah.
opposed to what happened with Winston's Lab, where main tanks scored more. And also, I feel like against in Goat's kind of the Rhine, he's guaranteed to have a Zarya bubble around. He's guaranteed to have a diva who can peel for him, so
Mhm.
he could just play aggro and get in there and swing the hammer, as we saw with Bumper on the Titans. And even then, Bumper wasn't scoring more than flex tanks, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure we'll see that happen, but maybe if Winston's just pile up limbs, it's possible.
Yeah, I mean that Tesla cannon can just touch everything.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
Well, I guess we'll
Possible.
see. And that also, this is all if 222 becomes a thing. Before we move
if it
on,
doesn't, this conversation is null and void.
yeah, null and void, and
No,
you
no,
shouldn't be listening to this podcast.
Great conversation. We'll bring it back up when 222 does become a thing.
Right,
It will
exactly.
become a thing.
Yeah, one day.
Yeah. Before we move on, let's each just give one player on the waiver wire right now that I'm picking that player up if 222 becomes a thing. Teoyama, why don't you give us one first? A Smith, why don't you give us one first?
Is Space on the waiver wire now because he hasn't been playing for the last
I hope so.
stage? Because if he is, I'm taking
No,
Space back
is
up.
definitely not a. That's silly. Yeah, if anybody drops Space, that's very silly of them.
Like
Why do you
I
keep
don't
calling
know
me
if-
silly on the podcast, Teoyama?
Did you
like
drop him?
I don't think I ever had him.
Okay.
Cool Matt.
Ugh, gross. Anyway,
I mean,
Uh,
who's playing Flex Tank for Houston?
I think it might be Spree if it's like
Spree. It's either Spree or Cool Matt, and whoever it is, that's going to be a pickup.
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Like whichever
Honestly, a good
one.
point.
Like that's kind of my pickup there. I think whoever's playing off tank for Houston, either Cool Matt or Spree, because
Cool.
it's very possible both of them
Alright.
are on the waiver wire.
my pick is Striker.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's fun.
I think Striker. I think 222 Rollock. I think Striker is a mainstay on Shock somehow. Like yeah.
Just looking at the waiver wires I'm involved in, I might just go. Yeah, I might go with a DPS as well. I would probably go with like Fleta is on one waiver wire, Bird Ring is on one. Guys like that where their playing time seemed inconsistent over the season because of Sombra players. I think they're just going to become a mainstay and put up a ton of points if 222 becomes a thing.
Cool. Well, awesome. There is our metaphorical, hypothetical, I should say, not metaphorical, hypothetical 222 discussion in which place it gets implemented. A Smith, you want to talk about homestand? Talk
I do.
about homestand.
I thought the homestand was very interesting. I think something that we're noticing has been so far every team that has had the homestand has gone 2-0.
Yeah.
Home field advantage
Mhm.
is becoming a thing, and Atlanta stunk this stage. Now they played 2 stinkers as well, so it was very possible. It was easier for them,
Mhm.
but this is going to be really fun to continue to track because I think this will directly impact fantasy with
yeah.
homestand. Because I think home teams will have a significant advantage
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, this homestand was different, significantly different than the last. Mainly, partly because the games were just not as good, but also it wasn't as big. The stadium was smaller,
Mhm.
and so you could it didn't sound as loud
To us.
Yeah, to us.
us.
And I know that, but if there's also 2,000 more fans, it's gonna sound a lot more lot louder in there than not. And from what I've heard, the Dallas homestand was louder, and I loved the boos. I mean,
Right.
both homestand you have had boos with the away team in, and that is exactly what needs to happen.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting how this works, and I think we're going to see I don't know if scrimming non-locally is going to be a thing next season with homestands.
Yeah.
Because if you're in Dallas, you're not going to want to scrim Atlanta, who's in Atlanta. You're probably going to scrim your team, your contenders team, or your bench.
Yeah.
Basically, so that could be very interesting.
I would say you probably just scrim less other teams. Like I think you still would. I think it's pretty
Possibly, yeah. Like when
invaluable.
you get to where you're gonna play, you'll probably scrim some of those teams. But
Especially
like
if you know you aren't playing a team for like 6 months because they're traveling elsewhere while you're staying local. You'd be like,
That's
well,
true.
I'll play you
That's
guys
true.
because we don't have to face each other again. That's just neat.
yeah, it could
for
be
you.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So it'll be fun to watch. However, Atlanta homestand looked a lot of fun, and I wish I could have been a part.
Yeah.
Every time, each one of these homestands they just look so much better than regular season games. Even like the beginning of last season, regular season games, they have looked better. So I'm looking forward to every game next season being a homestand.
It's true.
It also helps that they schedule the easier games for Atlanta, so the fans got to be pretty happy.
You're not. Wrong. But at the time, did they think Toronto was going to be easier than Atlanta?
Yeah, maybe not. But they probably had a strong feeling about Florida.
I mean,
and
who
they
doesn't have a
probably
strong
thought
feeling about
Toronto was
Florida
going to be easier than New York, who was also there. So
True,
like I
I
think
mean-
they were like, well, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting for sure to see how this goes.
Yep.
So.
Rivalry weekend looks insane as the stage playoffs and stuff. So we have some cool stuff coming up. But enough
yeah.
about video games. All right? Enough about
Way too much.
esports. Enough about fantasy of the computer. And let's go into fantasy of the American dream.
That's it.
This week, we have decided, since it's a bit of a shorter week, we have no high noon fantasy coming up this upcoming week because of stage playoffs. We have no stats from last week because of Blizzard API. We have decided to do Teo and I's very first bonkers draft, and A. Smith, who is a legend of
Reigning
these,
champion.
third
Both times.
draft, right? You've done 2 other ones besides this?
I have done 2
Okay.
of the 2 we've done, and I have won both of them.
Wow, yeah, that's true. And I must say, I have voted for you one of those times. Death Blow picked The Sopranos, and I was like, well, there we go, check mark.
I mean,
Sopranos.
Anyways, doesn't matter. Scores don't lie.
The best shows of all time, but whatever. So we
An animated Spider-Man show has something to say, but whatever. It's all good.
I do love that show. This crazy bonkers draft, we have to decided to draft. Your favorite streamers have done it. For some reason, all of them have actually been doing this. They've been ranking them by tier lists, but we are going to draft fast food restaurants. Now, there was much debate on what a fast food restaurant is, and we've decided to say, screw the rules. We'll just say it and hope it works. But the general rule I have been on is if your food can be made in under 10 minutes and given to you, then I would consider it to be a fast food restaurant. There's talks about drive-thrus, but that eliminated some stuff. So for now, we're going with that rough rule. Yeah, it's like a rough rule.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
yes.
I mean, if you go to an empty restaurant, you can get food in 10 minutes, but, whatever.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to eat that food. 10-minute food.
I mean, it's
Just microwaved restaurant food. Okay. So,
basically.
we have predetermined the draft order, and I have gotten first round draft pick by luck of a dice, I promise you. Teoyama has been second, and A. Smith is going to be our third. So we're going to snake draft, and we're going to do 4 rounds. So at the end of this, we will each have 4 fast food restaurants in our lineup. And don't forget, if you're listening to this, 1, enjoy it, but 2, make sure you log on to Twitter so that you can vote for who you think deserves the win. Just click the one that has the H at the start of it, and don't think any longer. So, without further ado, I would like to start with my first round draft pick for the 2019 Foul Play fast food draft thingy. I am choosing the Golden Arches themselves, McDonald's. Okay?
Son of a
If
gun.
it was not McDonald's,
it.
that was insane. I was contractually obligated to do that. Ronald McDonald has a gun to my head right now. As a video podcast, I can't do that. But I am choosing McDonald's as my first round pick. If you want statistics to back this up, McDonald's has served well over 300 billion hamburgers in their lifetime since starting in 1944. 1994? No, that's when the count happened. Anyway, we got so many billions hamburgers, and their branding is on point. You always know what it is. It is global, and they're kind of using that as a marketing scheme right now. So McDonald's is my number one draft pick. You may hand in your resignations for this draft.
Their
now.
food sucks.
No,
Like,
but
have
the
you ever
breakfast
eaten their
food, I would have
breakfast
voted,
food is good.
yeah,
I feel you.
breakfast food
No.
it tilts the scale for me. So
Okay.
Yeah, and they got 24-hour breakfast food now, so
Yeah.
it's getting there,
Yeah.
but still, like, their regular food is trash, like absolute trash. Like, I would never go there for a burger if I had any other option.
Yeah, but I go there for the breakfast food, and
I
I
mean,
love that option. That kills me.
The breakfast food is good. I mean, that McGriddle, that McGriddle is my weakness. I may have
Yeah.
eaten
Whew.
way too many of those, but we won't talk about that.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Whatever.
well,
I get
you know.
taking it in the first round. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
I think they handle everything. It's an easy pick. It's a solid high floor.
He took
pick,
he took the low fruit. He
Yeah,
took
I
the
was
low
gonna
hanging
take
fruit.
it
You had to
too.
take it, but like, I don't know. Nah.
I'm gonna go
Okay.
for my first overall pick. I'm gonna go a little more niche because that one that covered all of my bases was taken. I'm gonna go Popeyes fried chicken.
Ooh.
Boom.
Ooh. Early.
Yeah, I
All
I
right.
figured I wanted
I
I
love
wanted it off the board. I wanted it in my pocket. Popeyes chicken. It's dank. I'll go there number one.
Okay. Okay. Why are you taking Popeyes this early?
I
Like
think,
what about Popeyes?
I I didn't necessarily think that Popeyes was gonna get taken before it got back to me, especially because there's only 3 of us. But I wanted to make sure, like, there was none of the other restaurants on my list. Do I feel very strongly that I'll be upset? Do I feel very strongly about, in the sense that, like, I'm gonna want them on my list? But what we're choosing, 4 restaurants?
Yeah, 4.
Restaurants
or-
is a
sorry,
generous
four-
term.
4 fast food joints,
Yes.
4
so
joints.
I wanted to make sure Popeyes was on my 4. The rest of them, I'll find a substitute for if need be, but I'm not settling for KFC chicken. I need Popeyes if I'm getting fast food chicken.
Listen,
who
this
is
isn't a
settling
draft
for
of what
KFC?
we like to
Biscuits.
eat the best, okay? This is
What?
a
I mean-
draft of what we think are the best, most popular fast food joints.
No, that's pandering. That's
Yes,
pandering.
that's
I don't
winning.
pander. I don't pander.
Then
I
we'll go
take good
Mickey
food
D's,
only.
Burger
All right, well,
King.
I guess I'll just win now. So
You can take it because I'm going to take the King of the South.
Okay.
I am taking the King of the South.
This is
the
so
best
dumb.
Service
You're both throwing.
all the way around. I am taking Chick-fil-A.
Oh, okay.
You
okay,
cannot cannot argue. Chick-fil-A literally owns the South.
Yeah,
and
I can believe that.
Their lines literally wrap around buildings, and they're still faster than a McDonald's that has 2 people there. Like, it blows my mind. If you've ever been to a Chick-fil-A, the service is outstanding. They literally have people outside, like they have like 2 or 3 people with tablets, like taking your order, like near the front of the building. Meanwhile, like as it wraps around, and it's just like boom, boom. It's like clockwork, man. Average like wait time per like average, like as you get your food, it's like 20 seconds. You're at the window. You get your food, pay, done, out,
Wow.
gone. Like
Okay.
it is
All
insane.
right, I dig that.
Like Chick-fil-A.
No, that's
If
a
you
respectable first
yeah,
round pick.
Yeah,
Like
there's
Chick-fil-A owns.
there's only one in the city, and it's impossible to get it because there's always a long line. So
No,
Yeah.
dude.
So I don't
but
know that
It's because you're
experience, but
going
I've ever
on
eaten it,
Sundays
I've heard good
and they
things.
close nationally on a
and
7th
they
day of a
still
week.
make they still make more money. And they still make more money. They are closed. What's what? I don't know what 7 per. What's 7 out of, or 6 out of 7, or 1 out of
Yeah,
7 is
6 out of 7.
yeah. They are literally closed 1 day out of the week. They're closed. I was trying to come up with a percentage here. What is?
was
Hang
that
on.
math?
I got this. I got
Wait,
this.
It's like
All right, here we
1
go.
in
I'm coming up with a
7 days.
percentage.
Hebe started it off with numbers, and now you're gonna bookend it with numbers. All right,
There
I
we
just
go.
went with my heart.
They
My
are
heart
closed
went for
14.3% of the time,
Wow.
and they are still making more
Stop
money.
saying that's like an
Wait,
asset.
what percentage of days of the week is Overwatch League closed?
I mean, it's different. Like it's a little
It's so-
different.
Yeah,
it's a
true.
restaurant.
It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
So it is perfect. So
Yeah.
King of the South. I mean, we've been talking about the King of the North.
No, it's a good pick. I especially like that they're just known for having good manners, so that gives it a point in my book. I support that choice.
Really?
Yeah,
That's a fun
if-
choice. I mean, there's other
if you
people
don't-
that would give it a minus point for certain mindsets they have, but we'll continue.
Oh yeah,
okay.
that's not politeness though.
No. In fact, the liberal would probably be like, no to Chick-fil-A. Anyway,
Yeah,
Ace Smith.
anyways, we won't talk about that. All right,
Right,
whatever.
right.
Here we go. We'll skip over the politics. I'm talking about the food.
Yeah, McDonald's isn't necessarily on the right side of history either.
All right. Tell me
We
one
won't- I
person.
was like,
You want
I
to
was like,
talk about?
we're talking about food here. All right,
yeah.
I'm gonna take the next pick. I'm gonna take Taco Bell.
Damn it.
Okay.
It is the quintessential fast food Mexican place.
Yep.
And really it's like Tex-Mex because it's not really Mexican, but hey, it is gamer fuel, man.
Yeah, that's good.
You go to Taco Bell for the fourth meal. I mean, that's why you go to Taco Bell. If you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
going at midnight or later, you're not doing it right. Taco Bell open all the time. They have amazing food, and there's just not another big chain Mexican restaurant, the fast
Yeah,
food Mexican restaurant.
It's just great
like
to
this-
detox with Taco Bell. It just flushes you out.
It
It's
does.
real-
It
it's
cleans
really
your
nice.
system. It's like a great detox.
It's like a cheaper green juice,
That's that's it, man. It's significantly cheaper than dieting. If you just a little bit of Taco Bell, once a week, you just clean the system. It's amazing.
Man, I was gonna say A Smith with like back-to-back questionable choices in scary pasts, but man, like I think it's just every fast food place has got a real dark past.
if we're being real, like let's be real. Let's just every restaurant's past is like probably shouldn't.
No. Change all of your logos, please, and all of your slogans. Thank you.
I love Yo Quiero Taco Bell.
Yeah, I dig that. That's a great pick, and I'm gonna kind of bounce off of that with
Okay.
my own Mexican choice. I'm gonna go Chipotle.
No, that was my
Okay.
sleeper pick.
I needed to get her done. I figured, I gotta have some sort of somewhat healthy-ish options because I can get a burrito bowl. Tell them forget the rice, just give me a bunch of veggies and chicken.
Yeah.
Actually, toss in the rice too. Maybe toss in some cheese. Maybe toss in some sour cream. Maybe I changed my mind.
Didn't
I just have those options there.
I have a question. Didn't
Yeah.
Chipotle just like shut down like majorly for like contaminated supplies? Like
There was
very
some
recently?
cilantro that made
That-
people have bad bathroom days. All right,
Yeah, they've
that's
had-
it.
Like it was like a
Issues here and
national
there.
issue.
That's what happens when you use fresh ingredients. Sometimes you deal with the fresh diseases that man.
You run the risk of food poisoning.
I mean, that's what
So,
happens.
I think I try. That's why I try to give every Chipotle like a week of opening time before I trust it, and then I'll check it out. But yeah, no, I support Chipotle. I
Okay.
think it's a fun choice and gives me a nice well balanced diet.
It's a good choice. I don't know if it's round 2 worthy of choices. But this one certainly is, and it's a crime that it hasn't been given thus far. This summer, starting late August, spicy nuggets are back at Wendy's, baby. Chance the Rapper made it happen,
okay.
and we have spicy nuggets coming. Wendy's, you will not find a better place for actually good tasting food comboed with an insane value menu. You can
you
get
reading
a
an
burger,
ad right
a
now?
drink, fries, and 4 nuggets for
Four for
$4.
4 for 4, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
And also, shout out to any one of these places that we've said. If you want to sponsor our podcast, that is totally fine. Send it by mail to my address, which is... anyway, you guys feel free to sponsor us. We'd love it. I would eat free Wendy's for the rest of my life to make a fantasy Overwatch podcast any day.
I mean, fair. You know what's really funny? My wife is literally texting me stuff like she was like, "That was over 2 years ago," about something I said. And I was like, "What?"
About Chipotle. It was about
Yeah,
Chipotle.
yeah. It was
There
really.
we go.
She's like,
said
that piece
that
of
was a
shit.
year
Don't you
ago.
bad talk Chipotle?
Yeah, come on.
All right.
Sorry, a year ago, not a couple months ago.
Mhm.
My time frames are off. Had a baby.
Okay.
All
So
right, all right.
I have gone through two of the most popular and best choices. Obviously, that's why my first two round
I
picks.
mean, their Twitter game is really good, though. I will give you that. Wendy's Twitter game
Okay,
is fine.
they dropped a Spotify album and it was insanely good. Like,
Was there a diss track on there? Please tell me there's a diss track.
it was good. It was strangely good. There's other places with social media games that I would never choose in this draft because I hate their food. But we can talk about that at the end. My choice, I have chosen two, albeit incredible organizations, franchises. However, this one may not be as popular, but it's definitely higher in quality. I am choosing the creme de la creme. I am choosing Shake Shack. All right? You cannot be so popular that upon launch, they have to shut down Chicago streets because you have opened up a fast food restaurant. Overpriced? Maybe. But in terms of quality, you will find nothing else. Their campfire sauce or whatever, oh, that's Red Robin. But anyway, that sauce they put on their burger that tastes like campfire sauce, unbelievably good. It is incredible. Their fries are crinkle cut and take you back on a just a journey into your childhood.
I
And
think, yeah, it's a
It's
good
worth it.
choice. Like it might only be available in Chicago, New York, and LA, which kind
Yeah,
of
yeah, I
makes
was
it
like, I
feel
don't
not
actually
so
have
much
one.
like a fast food to me.
people have made
It's
road
like me
trips
choosing
just
Dos
for Shake
Toros.
Shack.
I've
Yeah.
never been to Shake Shack because there's not one in like 200 miles of where I
Yeah,
live.
exactly. So
It's like
I'm not,
Whataburger, but just like, I don't know, better in every way kind of thing.
yeah, and they pay really good
That's a no.
wages to their employees and stuff, which is cool.
Same
And their
Chick-fil-A.
desserts are good, and yeah, Shake Shack's really good.
In
Is it
every
the
way, yes.
standard fast food? I'm not fully sure, but I'll take it.
They have a
Let the
drive-through,
people
so I'll
vote.
take it.
Do
They
they?
do?
Doesn't Shake Shack have a drive-through?
I don't
Not
think
the one in
so.
Chicago.
I've
Oh.
never seen one. But in LA, I'm assuming they do. I
Also,
don't
they're in more. I literally went to one in the Mall of America in Minnesota. Okay,
I mean, if it's in a mall, it's basically fast
Yeah,
food.
Yeah,
all right,
exactly.
I'm sold.
There was a drive-through through the mall. It was wild. You went past the Snoopy ride at that little amusement park.
You were on the Paul Blart like a little deal like the what are the
Segway.
segways? Yeah, you were on a
Ace Man.
Segway.
A
It's like a
Segway.
Segway drive-through on the mall. Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah. That's
what we
how
need in
we
life.
are all gonna need to drive around after we've gone through our fast food choices. But Teoyama, you have next pick.
All right, I'm gonna go. Okay. I kind of gotta weigh some options here. I'm gonna go with Subway.
Okay.
Okay.
They might not have drive-throughs. I don't know if they do.
There are
but
some that do.
they're
Yep, there
pretty
are.
much everywhere, and I love the variety of options you get there. And yeah, it just feels like a good standard choice. If I had to choose 4 fast food places to, have the rest of my life, I would definitely want Subway on that list. I feel like they provide an essential service that these other places might not match in terms of like just giving you the variety to get something light, get something heavier, and just kind of suit it to your needs.
Okay.
That's fair.
That's a good-
That's fair. I like it. I mean, I don't know. Subway, it's so hard to eat Subway while driving. Have you ever tried that?
Oh, I do it all the time.
No.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, Subway while driving is so hard because it's like most of the time your sandwich is like falling apart.
You gotta eat it like a taco. Like you have to have paper upon the bottom to like
Dude.
eat it.
That's why I get soft tacos and roll those bad boys up and like.
I don't order hard tacos. Anyway, that's how I go through. Also, Subway, low key, has an incredible breakfast game. I love Subway
believe it.
breakfast.
I haven't tried their breakfast, but I've looked at it on the menu and I'm like, that looks like it would bang.
My favorite sauce is easily that like Southwest sauce, and it goes incredible with those egg patties they have. I love them.
That's fair. Like
I
they
dig
do
that
have.
for sure.
You know who else has an amazing breakfast game?
Is
Who?
it gonna be your next
Taco Bell.
choice?
No.
Oh.
Taco Bell has a very
Flashback to
interesting-
option 4. I can't believe you picked Chick-fil-A before Taco Bell. Like, I respect both choices, but in that
if
order
you-
is so strange.
Quality.
Have
to
you
me.
ever been to a
Quality.
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, I like Chick-fil-A. I do. But if you're trying to get the people's vote, like
Clean-
Taco
Bro,
Bell.
Straight
It-
pandering, though.
You don't understand. Like Chick-fil-A literally owns the South. Like if you
No,
live below
I
the
get it.
Mason-Dixon line, like you live Chick-fil-A,
Yeah, except on Sundays.
Which is God's day.
Right, of course.
There we go.
Eat more chicken. All right.
So, oh, and they have
You
to say
got
my
your
pleasure.
last
So
two.
I'm gonna say my wife. Yeah, I know. I've got 2 in a row, and I'm
Alright.
kind of like torn here because there's one that I'm gonna put on here that no one will get, but it's just incredible.
You don't
All
understand how this game works.
I do understand.
I guess you are a
because
2-time winner. I should
Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A like will win me this.
Yeah,
vote.
that's-
no,
yeah,
those-
you
those
have
are
a
gonna
pretty
pull
good
in
lineup.
heavy votes.
Like I was like I have 2 like really strong candidates here. There's one that I want to pick this, so I'm not gonna pick it. We'll talk about it at the end. Some of the ones that didn't
Some
get
honorable mentions.
picked.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions
In
afterwards.
memoriams.
Yeah, like R.I.P.
Uh-huh.
this one, but it should have been. I'm gonna go Sonic.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
It was
I
one of my
heard
thoughts.
they have fun milkshakes.
They have every kind of drink imaginable.
Mhm.
Like the
Okay, I dig that.
slushes, the slushes, the like you go to Sonic for drinks. Like I coach high school volleyball, and like some of the rewards we have are like Sonic drinks. Like whoever wins this, I'll bring Sonic drinks for whatever your crazy drink is. Like because everyone's got a weird Sonic drink, like a
What's your
purple-
weird drink?
my drink. I do a strawberry Powerade slush, and then I also have vanilla ocean water.
Ooh, ew, what
So-
the?
Ocean,
Yeah,
do you know what
vanilla
ocean water
water
is?
sounds
No,
freaking
no.
gross.
Ocean water is a blue coconut Sprite.
Whoa.
Vanilla blue coconut Sprite. It is
You live
incredible.
in a
What a
different world than I
world.
live in. Like-
All
Try
right,
it.
I gotta get to a Sonic. What
You
the
gotta
hell?
try these drinks, man.
Said
There's
vanilla ocean
legit-
water.
Oh,
Also, they
dude,
serve you on roller skates, which is like so cool.
I mean,
Is
I mean,
that
they don't.
true?
They get paid more if they do it. However, they
Oh.
most of the time they don't.
the only
because
ones
most
I've
people
been
don't do
to,
it.
they do.
Are they
That's
like
cool.
wheelies where they just kind of like bump?
They're like the no, they're like the
and
four. They're
Yeah,
like
they're
the four
the classic skates.
Oh.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like
the
2 and
classic
2.
skates.
That.
Yeah, but those Sonic drinks and the shakes, the slushes, the blasts, like all of the they're you go there for like the drink and the dessert game, but
Also-
they have some dynamite mozzarella sticks. If
It's
you
true.
haven't tried the mozzarella sticks, there are phenomenal, and then they have like their burgers, but their burgers are not the main event. They also have popcorn chicken, which is not a popular fast food item, so it's something
Also,
you can
hot
almost
dogs.
exclusively get there. Hot dogs, yeah, hot dogs
Very
and corn
few
dogs.
fast food restaurants can do
Mhm.
hot dogs. Like
Hot dogs and corn
Except
dogs.
for Shake Shack, of course. The
Of course.
most famous of all standard fast food joints.
I have McDonald's. All right, I needed like the hipster good fast food.
no,
you know.
You're right. I
That's
dig
fair.
All right, A
That's fair.
Smith, you
Alright.
you have back-to-back picks. So what's coming up
Ah,
next?
Numero cuatro.
All right, my last pick.
Yeah, it's closing.
This is tough. I've got several. Man, okay. All right, I'm gonna do the one that I love, and this one probably won't get me any votes, but I don't care because it is phenomenal, and I would eat there almost every
Go with
day.
the heart. Gotta
It's
go with
what
the
it's
heart.
Whataburger.
Okay.
Whataburger is almost exclusively in the South, I want to say. I don't know how far north. They only had a couple in Arkansas, but they're like all over Texas and Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
But man, their burgers are probably some of the best fast food burgers I've ever had. Like
Good.
bar none, best fast food burgers. The cheeseburgers are like so good, and the shakes are really good too. If you've ever had their shakes, those are like their 2 top deals. The fries I'm not as sold on, but you know what? It's okay. Their burgers make up for it. Like I'd rather have 2 burgers than fries, to be honest with you. If you go
That
there,
works for me. I don't.
It's like-
I haven't had it, but I like the name. I thought it was Wahlburgers for a little bit, and I got
No,
confused,
no,
but
no,
now
not
I
Wahlburgers.
understand it is not Wahlburgers.
it is
It is
not
Wahlburgers.
Wahlburgers.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, so
Mark
A Smith's
Wahlberg,
going for
Marky
that
Mark,
friends and family vote.
I like that.
Yeah, all the people in the South here are gonna love me, but I'm from the South
All
and
right.
I don't venture out north too much. So to be fair, I you got to pick from what you know, and I'm not gonna pick a place like Wahlburgers that I've never been to. So,
I feel that.
Mhm.
All right,
that
so
is my pick.
I'll follow that up. Wait, so what do I have right now? I have Popeyes, Subway, Chipotle. So
Yeah,
I'm missing burgers.
yeah,
I'm
you're
gonna
missing burgers.
go round it out. I'm gonna go Five Guys.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a good
okay.
pick.
It's delicious. It's like uh super greasy. The standard is to come with the two burger patties. You
Mhm.
choose a bunch of toppings. You can go wild with it, and then you get the Cajun fries as well, and
Oh,
those
those
are
are so
those are
good.
delicious. I remember
So
the
not
first time I
Cajun.
had those, I was like young in high school. My buddies and I, we had like just so many fries because they just pile those things in,
They
and
do.
I swear we thought we were high off of sodium for like 2 hours. Like
Yeah.
we were like
Probably,
riding
yeah.
And
around
you
in a
were
shopping
actually just in
cart.
cardiac arrest for 2 hours.
Yeah, it
It was
turns out we just
unbelievable.
needed water, but we were just like, no, dude, this is sick. Cajun fries, yeah. So I gotta
awesome.
go. I gotta go Five Guys there. They also have like what the free peanuts. Sometimes you
Yeah.
got the barrels of free peanuts so that
Yeah,
people can have free.
kind of like a Roadhouse
What a
deal.
thing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Have
not
you ever been to
so.
like a Roadhouse,
What?
like a Texas Roadhouse, or
Yeah,
like a
you toss the peanut shells on the floor
yeah,
kind
they
of place.
toss the peanuts on the floor. Yeah.
Those
Oh,
places
okay.
stress me the hell out. I don't like it. It's
I
so
can imagine
messy.
like people who are
I
like, yeah, like
options. But yeah, no. If I and
It's like a movie
some
theater.
Five Guys also have bacon, egg, and cheeses in the morning, which is delicious and which is like, boom, satisfies a breakfast need of mine. So,
like I try to just sleep
Great.
through breakfast altogether. So
Mm.
but
if I
bacon, egg,
can.
and cheese, it's delicious. It needs to be done.
Only on a McGriddle.
Oh, my girls are so good. Okay, Five Guys is good. Okay, Taylor, you've had Shake Shack before, right?
Yeah.
Who would you give the edge to, Five Guys or Shake Shack, in terms of what you like better?
Ooh.
Because
In
they're like the
terms of-
most similar to me.
Thing is, I don't. Yeah, I see Five Guys as being the fast food version of Shake Shack. I don't
Oh,
really see
interesting.
Shake Shack as fast food, but I see how it is. But like then you could just go with like super upscale things. It's like me choosing Dos Toros instead of Chipotle. But I don't think either of you know Dos Toros because I don't think it's in many places.
Wow.
I don't
Okay,
know what
just
you're talking about.
assuming I don't freaking know a burrito place. Thanks. Though.
That's
That's a good point. Okay, so I have the final pick of the draft. This is closing it all up before we go into the in memoriams and honorable mentions. So this is a hard choice. I'm torn between two, but you saying that you need to round out your menu item, I think is a really good point. I want to appeal to multiple things. And so I think that's what this fast food joint did when they initially started. I am choosing Panda Express. Okay? I have
Okay, all right. The only fast food Chinese place ever. But
ever.
yeah.
Because that's how capitalism works with monopolies. So I am choosing Panda Express, and then that like little walk place in every shopping mall all over the world. But
Valid.
I am choosing Panda Express. They essentially invented orange chicken for Americans, which I think was a gift that I'll enjoy.
true.
And yeah, I mean, it's listen, my picks haven't been exactly like you take a girl out to a nice fancy date sort of places, right?
This is
They're
fast
ruddy.
food, so
yeah, exactly.
Like fast food for sure.
Yeah, but Panda Express, I think, does everything they do right. And that's why I'll give Panda Express. It's like one of the most Uber Eats ordered items ever, which is a fun fact.
Wow.
Yeah. That I did make up. But anyways, that
I was like,
is
you
my-
believe all the stats you read on the internet.
Yeah, 97% of statistics are just made up. Anyway,
That's
so to go over in detail all of our choices, heebie-jeebie, I had first round draft pick. I chose McDonald's, Wendy's, Shake Shack, and Panda Express. Teo had second round draft pick, and he chose Popeyes, Chipotle, Subway, and Five Guys. And A. Smith had our third, and you chose Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell, Sonic, and Whataburger. Dang, this is gonna be a pretty close
Whataburger.
race. I think.
Yeah,
This
no,
is gonna be
those-
really tight.
Some good options.
I think A. Smith is like got it with Taco Bell. Like,
Just saying.
Yeah,
I'm
Taco
so-
Bell and Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Clean up.
That's a
I know
major
I
vote.
know how to pander here, guys. I know how to win these
Casual
things.
But like Chipotle and Subway alone will get you votes, Tail. I know they will. It's very
Yeah,
hard.
I hope so, and I think McDonald's is definitely going to do you
Mc-
some major
McDonald's
favors. And then you also get ism with the Shake Shack crowd, so
That's
you're
fair.
in a good
all,
spot.
all 12 of them.
But dude, McDonald's is like it's like everyone loves to hate it, you know. But then like you're driving home from work and you're like, frick, I could smash a Big Mac right now. Or my
Oh,
favorite
yeah.
order, which is a McDouble with Big Mac sauce on it,
Nah,
and then you just go do that.
what you do when McDonald's, you like drive through at night. You're like, you know what? I could go for like a milkshake right now. You pull up at McDonald's, and then you realize, dang it, their machines don't work because they never do.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing.
That's because it's so hot in the South, and so all
Yeah.
their ice cream melts.
That is completely inaccurate because every time I go to Chick-fil-A, their machines work. So
Oh my god.
Ugh.
Because it's God's machine. Anyway.
they are God's machines.
Exactly. They've paid their dues.
All right, so some honorable mentions here that didn't get picked up.
Yeah.
How did Burger King not get picked?
Because it's garbage.
Yeah,
It
I
is
was thinking
trash
that.
tier.
Whoa! I would go to Burger King 12 times out of the day over McDonald's. Like
Oh.
any day of the week, I would go to Burger King
For
over McDonald's.
taste?
I was thinking about
Maybe.
it, but the
Before-
breakfast doesn't have the same impact.
I
for
mean,
me,
sure,
and
breakfast.
I prefer the burger somewhere else. You know, so
Burger King
was
has
in a-
onion rings, and that is
I
the
thought about
one
it.
thing
Their
they have on McDonald's.
fries are better.
No.
Oh, Burger King fries are the best fries I've had.
I would support a Burger King burger over a McDonald's burger. I would
Yeah.
follow that.
Oh man, there's too
but-
much mayo on their burgers. Like it's like
That's why you don't order mayo. You order it plain, like how.
If I have to custom
it.
order, then it is not good fast
But
food.
McDonald's
I want to
comes
go
with
in there and be like,
ketchup
"Give me a
and
burger."
mayo. McDonald's just cuts their mayo with ketchup
Yeah,
on their burger.
awesome.
So,
I'm so on board.
That's
You're
too
just
much
saying good
sauce.
things. You just keep saying compliments. Anyway.
Okay. All right.
Gotcha.
My other honorable
Arby's.
mention, Arby's, yeah, that was the one I was saying has a great social media game, but
They do.
I don't think like
We got the meats.
yeah, I'm not
burgers.
95 years old, and so I
Percentages.
don't like going to Arby's.
I freaking love Arby's. They're the only place that has curly fries.
It's
Who
because
else has
you're
curly
a
fries?
dad, A. Smith. Because you're a
I've
dad.
been going to Arby's since I was like 16.
With
and
who?
Myself?
Ah, damn. I was hoping it was your dad. Well, okay.
No, my dad actually
Alright.
hates Arby's. Interesting.
good on him.
Like
I have-
like hates it.
Oh no, I got one honorable mention.
ahead.
I have two actually, but I'll go with one for right now, and that's the king of bang for your buck, White Castle.
Whoa.
White Castle, yeah, yeah.
You
Oh,
ever-
man.
You ever want like 10 of something?
Yeah.
You're ever in the mood? You go with a bunch of people, you just want to do a lot, and then White Castle just spits this like
you can
one
crush like 20
weird
of those
niche.
burgers.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, which
like,
other of these have had an entire movie dedicated to them? 2 movies, in fact.
Burger
McDonald's?
King or McDonald's did have what was that?
Not a very good light
yeah,
of
yeah.
a movie.
Mayhem with the Shanghai Dragons. That's it.
Yeah. I'm surprised. This is something that surprised me. One was that A. Smith didn't pick Jack in the Box because of there's fuel. But so that's one that I was
Gotcha.
surprised by.
I've never been to Jack in the Box because
Oh, interesting.
they all shut down in my city before I could like eat there.
Shoot.
Like they were like sketchy.
There was
Like
one I
the-
wanted to pick, but
the
it was like
moment
just
you get there.
Midwest. Was Culver's. Have you guys had Culver's before?
Nah.
Okay, it's super good. They're like the best for fried cheese curds. Like that's like their thing. And like
That sounds disgusting.
oh,
That's-
I don't even know what fried cheese curds
Smith.
are.
Oh,
Cheese
A. Smith.
curds are something they put in poutine, which is
Yes.
Canadian, and then fried cheese curd sounds
Would be
like an even more intense cheese curd experience.
Yeah, Ace, you'd love them. Just come up here,
I
visit
would
me,
love them.
and try some
will.
cheese curds with me.
I'll just drive up to Chicago real quick.
Yeah, that'd be
No
great.
big deal. Okay, what are some other ones? Did you have any?
Panera was like another one that I was like,
Panera.
that was maybe a good one.
It's
I
not really.
also-
I just can't feel Panera as fast food. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't. It feels like a sit down place. Like
Okay.
if you go there, you're sitting down.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
One that I was considering as well is just A&W. Like,
Yes, that was the
Mhm.
one.
They
A&W.
make a good burger. I like their options. But they didn't hit any niche strong enough for me to really
Yeah.
Yeah.
put it on my list. But I just think they're like a good all-around fast food spot.
So I
Yeah.
grew up in like rural Canada, and like okay, if you go
so
around
the frozen tundra.
Yeah. I took my polar bear to work with me because he was my defense mechanism against the Arctic dragons. Anyways, what were your guys? If you drive through like rural America, what is a fast food restaurant that is in every town? Subway? It's like Subways are in almost all gas stations. Right?
Subway is KFC's in most.
Okay, Casey. So
KFC
A&W is like that in Canada. Every small town has an A&W franchise.
And they love the root beer, don't they?
Oh, it's so damn good.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Root beer is amazing.
Root beer floats is like the go-to drink. Like, you know, like your grandparents got that like all the time kind of thing.
Just kidding.
Yeah. You better.
I feel you there.
What about
Starbucks.
Hardee's, Canadian staple?
Hardee's is really good. Their buns are amazing.
In terms of Canadian staple, you'd be surprised at how little you see them. They're like
really?
in especially in central
Quebec
Canada.
a bunch.
Yeah. So in eastern Canada, yes, the more west you get, the more like spread out they are. Like if you even have them.
It's valid.
Got you.
So is Starbucks a fast food and we just didn't take it?
I think I just avoided coffee shops like Dunkin' and Starbucks. Like I don't know,
That's
it's just it didn't feel like same with like
Yeah.
I almost thought Little Caesars.
Little Caesars is one that I would pick because
Okay,
they have
yeah.
hot and ready pizza.
Right.
Like they literally you can drive through, wait like 2 minutes, get a pizza.
Yeah.
I'd still.
Oh,
I'd
have
rather
you ever done
wait
the-
for the Domino's?
Okay, well, whatever. Have you ever done
I
the
mean,
Little
Domino's
Caesars
is not
like
really.
order online and then you go into your locker and pick up your pizza? There's
No,
like
that
a
sounds
little like
sketchy.
machine and then you put in your like 4-digit code they give you and a certain door opens and your pizza's in there.
Wow.
That sounds
They are
very intriguing.
Optimize the hell out over there,
That's
okay?
true.
It's great.
I mean, Pizza Hut is technically fast food too because they have drive-throughs.
Yeah.
But they also have a buffet.
They do have buffet.
I didn't know
I
they
worked
had a
at-
buffet.
Oh,
I worked at a place. What? Have you never been to Pizza Hut?
No, I have not.
Oh,
I think there's like one in New York, and it's like deep in Queens or something. I
Okay.
actually have no idea. I know I've tried to order from Pizza Hut before and been rejected.
Ooh,
Okay.
Teo, New York style pizza or Chicago style pizza? Which do you prefer?
New York style pizza.
Okay, A Smith.
Chicago style pizza is obnoxious.
Don't actually know the difference.
Oh, one's deep dish and one's like extremely thin
Yeah.
crust,
Oh,
like to the
whatever
point where
the
you
deep dish is.
fold in half. Okay,
I want the deep dish.
so I actually prefer New York style because I think it's pizza. Like deep dish is circular lasagna. Like I
Yeah,
don't
that's
know
what it
how they
sounds
get
like.
off calling it pizza.
Which does sound pretty delicious. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's pizza.
It's circular lasagna with a crust on the outside. Like I don't.
Yeah.
It's insane
like,
they
Sounds
call
like
it
pizza,
pizza.
pie.
Like
Yeah.
I don't know how deep dish we're talking. Are we talking like crust this thick?
It
'Cause
depends.
If that's the case,
So-
then that's way too much bread.
If
like,
you're going to
bro.
like the tourist chainy ones, then it's like that much meat and cheese, and then like crust on the bottom like that. But if you're going to like the local places, your deep dish is only about like that thick.
Oh,
Still
okay.
it just seems like you eat it with a spoon or something. It doesn't
Yeah,
work for me.
it's also the reverse of normal pizza, in which they put the cheese and toppings on the bottom and the sauce on the top.
That's fair.
It's weird. Okay, we've talked
Oh,
about
that is
food
weird.
so
Oh.
much that my stomach
Oh,
is tearing me
yeah.
up
One,
inside.
one more thing I will
Okay.
mention. When I went to China, there were 3 fast food places there:
Okay.
McDonald's,
Yes, sir.
KFC,
Oh, I love that.
and
place.
Pizza Hut.
Wow. All right,
Yep.
I wasn't expecting the third one.
I wasn't
true.
either. Like these places
Interesting.
sneak up on you, man. But every
I
place
will-
that we ate had significantly better than America, which was very
Yeah, I
interesting.
will say that's one thing that is a point in favor of McDonald's is that McDonald's outside
International.
of America are so much better than
Mhm.
here,
Yeah.
and that just like means you have that option if you're anywhere else. And yeah,
But
I
the
give them a point
menu's
for
like
that.
really different. So
Yeah, completely different.
Also, kind of funny. I went to Eastern Europe, and all the hamburgers were named after different cities in America.
Really?
Yeah, you get the New York burger, or you could get the I think it was like the like Washington D.C. burger. Like it was very strange. They just kind of leaned into
Oh.
like we're American food.
I like that.
yeah.
You know what's another what's it called? Another honorable mention that I've never had, but I've just heard. Like, it's like, you know, there's like fast food places you hear about, and you're like, oh, I gotta try that.
Yeah.
Like In-N-Out is one
In-N-Out
obvious
burger.
example. Like I've never had
In-N-Out.
In-N-Out, but people say good things, and I'm
It's like
okay,
California's
it's
Whataburger.
probably
really
the same
nice.
thing as Five Guys, but I like to try it.
It's
have
not
you guys
as
heard
good
of
as-
or ever been to Cookout? Is that the North
No.
Carolina spot? It's just like
Mm-mm.
barbecue, and it looks so obnoxious, but it seems
Have you tried
delicious.
Cane's?
I actually want drive-through barbecue in my life. That needs to happen.
Yeah.
Drive-through
Yeah,
barbecue
no,
places.
like Cookout, they have like over 40 milkshake flavors. Like it just sounds
Yeah.
marvelous.
Steak and Shake has similar, like insane amount
Mm.
of milkshakes, but also local. Like I had so many local options that I like. It's hard
Yeah.
when they're like regionalized. But okay,
Yeah.
if you have other honorable mentions that you are pissed we didn't draft, make sure to let us know on Twitter.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for a new tweet that you can vote and choose your winner. And thank you so much for sticking with us and listening on this short fantasy week. We hope you enjoyed our super fun draft. If you have ideas for future drafts, also let us know either on Discord or on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you guys. I have been HeebieJB. That has been A Smith. The other one has been Teoyama. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you when the fantasy points come a rolling. Bye-bye.
And vote for A. Smith.
Yeah, vote for A Smith.
Vote for me.